This is the 4th chapter, 6th Mishnah. Rabbi Yishmael bar Rabbi Yossi says, this is not our famous Rabbi Yishmael, this is Rabbi Yishmael bar Yossi. He says, Halomed al minas lalamed, maspikin biyado lilmod ulalamed. A person who is given, who learns in order to teach, is given the means to both learn and to teach. Halomed al minas la'asot, the person who learns in order to do, right? Maspikin biyado limod ulamed lishmor ula'asot. It's given unto him the ability both to learn and to teach and to guard and to do.
Thank you.
So lying to yourself. The easiest way to lie to yourself or to lie to somebody else is, first of all, in just words, sophistry. Right? I can give you over an idea. I mean, the idea. So we'll start with socialism and communism. Right? It's not a mission, or in the 5th parak will actually come to it, that says, what's mine is mine, what's yours is yours. Right? That's a normal attitude. Right? If you take it to make a religion out of it, some say that that's midos stone. If I say what's mine is yours, what's yours is mine, so we call it an am ha'aretz, a foolish person. So what's the philosophy of communism? It makes sense. You see, it works in the family. Everybody should do what you can do. Contribute when you make a partnership, right? We're going to be partners on a project. The expectation is you're going to contribute what you're capable of contributing. And I'm going to contribute what I'm capable of contributing. Right? Time and energy, whatever it is. But I'm not going to go crazy trying to keep a ledger. Did you do exactly as much as I did? Right? You do what you're capable of, I'll do what I'm capable of. And in the end, I'll take out from it what I need, and you'll take out from what you need. That's how a family works. Right? Between you and your wife. You want to make yourself miserable? You should be keeping a chart so you can call her at the end of the week and say, you know what? I did more chores than you did. You owe me 1 dishes, half a vacuuming, and sweeping. Right? You can't keep track. It just has to be whatever I've got the ability to contribute, I'll contribute. Right? And whatever I need, you will do your best to meet my needs in life, and I'll do your best to meet your needs in life. And verbally, it makes sense. Right? The concept, you hear the concept, it makes sense. So now you take it out to a civilization. Right? Now what happens? Right? You tell everybody in the city, here's the deal. You work as hard as you're capable of. And you can have whatever you need. You go to the market, just take whatever you need. Right? Well, soon you'll find that what I'm capable of is working about 3 hours a week. And what I need is a lot of the fanciest, nicest food that I get my hands on. And soon you find that the inputs don't exceed the outputs. Right? So if I just read stuff, it's easy for me to gloss over contradictions. It's easy for me to gloss over problems. If I have to teach it, and you teach it properly, so I read and I hear an idea, and I work through the idea till I understand it, and then I give it over to you. Now, except when the camera's running, you guys will jump on me and say, well, what about this contradiction, or that contradiction, or this issue? Right? The necessity of teaching over the idea means you really have to understand it. Right? You can't teach an idea that you just don't get. Right? It has to be, obviously you want to understand this much so you can teach that much. You want to be able to explain the periphery and explain the pieces and explain the implications. It says, the reason that I originally started teaching this is I remember talking to Rabbi Braverman and saying, this material really moves me. How do I learn it better? He said, teach it. If you want to compel yourself, and it's funny because you talk to people who've read through Avos versus someone who's taught it, and it's a different, you have to have a different sense of what's there in any Mishnah, right? Any material. The fact that you've got to have enough of a handle, right, to build a web page is different than having to then now write out the instructions necessary to hand over to another person so they can replicate that activity. Any task. Learning it in order to teach it is a much deeper learning than just having brushed through it on your own trying to acquire the information. It says if you learn it to teach it, you will both learn it and know it. But you can still have contradictions even in the teaching of it. right? When you have to actually implement it, right? A person who learns it, right? I'm going to have to actually go and do this. Now my practical grasp on it has to be much, much deeper. And in fact, the contradictions and the weaknesses and the mistakes show up in the action. So as a person who learns a concept, not just to be able to explain it, but to actually go and build it. Right? It's one thing to learn how to build a bookcase. It's a very different thing to actually go and build a bookcase, or to go and build a city, or to go and do whatever it is that you've got to do. Right? It's one thing to watch the video on how to throw a baseball. It's a different thing to have to figure out how to actually get up there and move your legs and get the muscle memory and get through it. But if you can do it, if you learn it in order to actually practically put it into it, it says then you will have learned it, and you'll be able to explain it, and you'll be able to do it right, and you'll do it. You can guard it, and you can do it. So that's our mission. It says we'll see before our whole understanding of learning is not the Greek philosophical, let's acquire beautiful ideas. It's let's learn things that we can actually act on to change the nature of who we are. We are an action-driven, results-driven, make it real-driven learning system.